Thank you, everyone. Right from a very young age, I always wanted to give back. And my work over the last decade in emerging markets, specifically in Afghanistan, has shown me that business has a very important role to play in society. The purpose of business has to be blended. It has to be twofold, not just investment for economic return, but investment for social return as well. And I'm going to share the example of the work that I have done at Roshan, the largest telecoms company in Afghanistan, as a case study into how this is possible and how business can be lifted to the highest levels. So Roshan is a company that is funded by the Aga Khan Fund for Economic Development. The principles of investment of this fund are clear. You cannot enter a market unless you can tick both the economic return box and the social impact box. You have to act as a catalyst in the country. You have to attract more foreign direct investment. You have to be able to bring best practice, and you have to be able to create jobs and sustainable economies and build a strong middle class so that the community and the society become healthier. And as they become healthier, they sustain your business to the second and third level. Roshan entered Afghanistan in 2003. It bid $5 million for its telecoms license. It was the second operator to enter the country. When asked by the Ministry of Communications how long did they want an exclusivity period, they were willing to give 10 or 15 years. We at Roshan said 3 years. To the surprise of the ministers, they said, only 3 years? We said, yes, only 3 years. And why do you think we only asked for 3 years? We only asked for 3 years because we had to tick the foreign direct investment box. After 3 years, we had proved the model. We were very profitable. We showed that the telecom sector could bring double-digit returns. And so 2 of the large regional players came into the market, each paying $40 million for their license. Together, they invested in excess of $1.2 billion into the industry and the country. Now, why, might you ask, is that good for our business? Well, it was good for a number of reasons. 1, it increased tax revenue, which made the Afghan government more viable. Number 2, it increased coverage and penetration, which grew the market. It brought competition, which meant we all had to raise ourselves to a higher level to provide a better quality of service to the people that we were serving. When we launched Roshan, we thought of calling it Bale Bale, which means hello, hello. But the team thought, no, let's go and ask the people. We're going to be the company of the people. We're going to be nationwide. Let's ask them what we should call it. And unanimously, the country voted for the word Roshan. Roshan means light and hope in the 2 languages of the country, Dari and Pashto. So that was it. Roshan became the inspirational brand for Afghanistan. When we were building our network, companies, international companies, promised us the world. Buy our equipment, we'll get on the ground, we'll install it. But all we got was the equipment with good luck tags. We had to build the capacity ourselves in-house. Building a network in Afghanistan was no easy task. Afghanistan is one of the most heavily mined countries in the world. So building a network was not a question of just delivering a tower to a location. It required surveying, it required demining, it required building roads, and then it required bringing fuel to the area and putting the tower into place. So this created many, many jobs, and we outsourced those. So over a period of time, we created in excess of 30,000 indirect jobs. You may have heard over the years that the Taliban required towers to be switched off for certain periods of time. We, at this point in time, employed security guards to guard our towers. But the towers would get blown up, so we had to think out of the box. And we developed a community engagement model where we went to the community and we said, give us 15 people that we will train. We will train them, to clean the towers, to operate the towers, to fuel the towers, and we will pay them for this service, and we will pay the community a little bit extra so that money can be used for the community. And if the tower is on for longer, then we could have it operating ourselves. We will give you a bonus payment. All these payments were made via the mobile phone, so everything was transparent. Our competition paid the Taliban for protection money so that their towers would not get blown up. When we tried to approach them and said, why don't you pay the community in the same way that we do, they were distrusting of us. But over time, we've proved the model, and we're changing mindsets, and our competition is looking at the success that we have secured and are moving to community investment models. When we decided to go nationwide, we now have points of sale in 234 cities and towns right across Afghanistan. We provide access to telecoms to almost 70% of the population. We could have gone and built our own stores and our own points of sale right across the country, but we didn't, because our social impact piece told us to do it differently. We built 7 flagship stores so that the Afghans knew. They knew what a store looked like, and we never treated them second class. You can walk into a Verizon or a T-Mobile or AT&T here, and you can walk into a Roshan store in Afghanistan. They are equal and the same, if not better. Once we did that, we galvanized the entrepreneurial spirit of the Afghan. We taught them merchandising, marketing, sales, branding, so that they could become our dealers. We tied our destiny to them. As we prospered, they prospered. As they prospered, they created more jobs, more revenue for the government, more revenue for their communities, and we created a middle class that could now afford housing, schooling, and some of the things that you and I thrive for. When we were looking at the critical success factors that would make this business successful, we ensured that we brought the best products and services for the Afghans. So we are the company that brought BlackBerry, iPhones, Twitter, Facebook via SMS, mobile money, mobile health to Afghanistan. There are a few stories that I think are interesting. You know, Afghanistan is 70% illiterate. The GDP is $300. Of a population of 32 million, 50% of the population is under 20 years of age. There is a great deal of poverty. 75% of the population live rurally, and earn less than $1 a day. So as the team thought about this business, we were worried. Will anybody buy a mobile phone? But on the first day that the shop was due to open, there was a line, not kidding, of 10,000 people around the block. We had registration papers that you needed in order to get a phone, and that became currency. People sold their form for $1 or $2 so people could get a mobile phone. One of the first customers that walked into the store wearing a shalwar kameez, beard, big turban, looked at the display, and there was a cheap Chinese phone and a very expensive block Nokia phone, and said to the sales rep, "How much is that one?" pointing to the very expensive phone. And the assistant said, "Well, sir, I don't think you need that one. This one will be good. It's $35. After 2 or 3 requests for the price, the guy thumped the counter and said, "How much is that one?" And the sales assistant said, $700. The guy put his hand in his pocket, took out $2,100 and said, "I'll take 3. He came back the next day. He said, "They're not working." But that's because he's illiterate, and we had to go through teaching him. So over time, we have learned a lot from the community. But around the work that we do, in order that we can address the social component of the business so that we can tick both boxes, we established Roshan Community. Roshan Community was the social relevance piece of our business. Roshan Community invested in the needs of the community with a telecoms speciality to the way in which it responded. So we built wells, but we built a mobile app so you could report if a well is working or not. What it also meant is that girls didn't have to carry buckets of water for 4 hours a day so they could go to school. We brought e-learning centers to rural parts of Afghanistan, which were containers that were refurbished with desks, with modems, with solar power, and with computers. We had contractual agreements with the community that women could have access. And in the South, women could have access just for healthcare so they could keep the male children healthy. But what it meant was that a woman could switch on a computer, navigate a keyboard. That made a difference. That allowed her to enter the workplace and the world of technology. We've also built schools. We've built playgrounds. And people say, well, why is a telecoms company building playgrounds? Some of the worst damage that was done in Afghanistan was done during the Civil War. So if you have read The Kite Runner or 1,000 Splendid Suns, you will understand when I say Hazara, Pashtun, Uzbek, Tajik. These tribes fought, killed each other, killed each other's families. And Afghanistan is a diverse population, and we believe that that diversity is its strength. And so we believe that in investing in playgrounds, we get children to play together in the hope that they grow up as one Afghan in the future. I can talk for a very long time about all the projects and the success that came out of this. But let me focus a little bit on numbers, because impact and measurement is important. So we have invested $500 million in this company. We have paid taxes in excess of $350 million. We represent 7% of the GDP of Afghanistan. We have 1,300 direct employees, each who support 10 other people. Do the math. 20% of our workforce is women. We invest over $1,500 per employee per year, on developing their skills. Why? Because for a decade, we have been the #1 company, the #1 operator in market share, the largest employer, the company that people want to work for. We have also been very respectful of our workforce. We understand that in order to keep our workforce, which is our greatest asset, we have provided medical, dental, personal disability, life insurance. And what this has done is it's made our competition rise up to the next level, because no longer can they buy our employee just on money. They have to do more than money. And so I suggest to you that to have a healthy business, you have to have a healthy society. And so no longer can business operate on the premise that just economic return is enough. It has to be both. And then I suggest to you that if this model can operate in one of the most corrupt countries in the world and be successful, then why cannot business make a difference everywhere in the world and address some of the very pressing issues that we have? I know that we at Roshan make a difference. And I know that there are organizations like BGI, SVN, SVP, Investors Circle. So I challenge you today, whether you are an investor, whether you're a member of the community, an employee, a student, a CEO, whoever you are, ask yourself the question, are you making a difference? And make a difference. Thank you.